Hello friends. Bhutan, a small country located east of the Himalayas. Bhutan borders China to the north and India to the east, west and south. Area, about 38,394 square kilometers. Population, about 750,000 to 800,000 people, estimated 2023. Capital, Thimphu. This is famous as a happy country. Bhutan is one of the only countries in the world that is carbon negative, meaning it absorbs more carbon dioxide than it emits. This is achieved thanks to strict environmental protection policies and high forest coverage, about 70% of the country's area. Bhutan has a restrictive travel policy, requiring visitors to spend a minimum daily amount and travel through tours organized by local travel companies. This helps protect culture and the environment from the negative impacts of mass tourism. Bhutan used to apply a closed-door policy to protect traditional culture and lifestyle. It was not until the 1960s that the country began to open up to the outside world and develop modern infrastructure. And a very special thing, they are located between two giants, China and India, giants in many senses but still maintain their independence. Tiny guy among giants. Bhutan is a small country in terms of area and population compared to two giant neighboring powers, China and India. To understand Bhutan's modesty, we can specifically compare the area and population of these three countries. About 38,394 square kilometers. Compared to China, it is about 9.6 million square kilometer. India, about 3,287 million square kilometer. Bhutan accounts for only about 0.4% of China's area, and about 1.2% of India's area. This means that China and India are both hundreds of times larger than Bhutan. Population, about 750,000 to 800,000 people, estimated 2023, compared to China and India both over 1.4 billion people. Bhutan's population is only about 0.05% of China's population, and the ratio is even worse when compared to India. Compared to two neighboring powers, China and India, Bhutan is actually very modest in both area and population. Border with India and China. Bhutan's border is about 1,136 kilometers long, bordering two countries, China to the north and India to the east, west and south. This border is not only long but also has many interesting topographical, cultural and historical features. With China, the border between Bhutan and China is about 477 kilometers long. With India, the border between Bhutan and India is about 659 kilometers long. Bhutan's borders lie largely in the high mountains of the Himalayas. High peaks and deep valleys create a natural barrier that protects the country. There are many famous hiking trails along the border, attracting climbers and adventure tourists from around the world. These trails not only test your endurance but also provide the opportunity to explore the unspoiled natural beauty and unique culture of Bhutan. Bhutan, a resilient country. In the heart of the majestic Himalayas, there is a small but resilient kingdom called Bhutan. In the past, on the mountain tops, small tribes lived scattered across the territory of present-day Bhutan. Their life was peaceful, in harmony with nature, until a prominent monk from Tibet appeared. He is considered the father of modern Bhutan, having come here in the early 17th century. He not only brought with him Buddhism but also the will to unify these small territories into a powerful kingdom. Bhutan began building strong fortresses, dzongs, across the country. These fortresses were not only administrative and religious centers but also fortified citadels that protected the nation from outside invasions. With wise leadership and ingenious military strategy, Bhutan has repelled many attacks from its neighbors, especially Tibet. During the 18th century, Bhutan faced a new challenge from the British Empire, as the British sought to expand their influence in South Asia. Conflicts took place, and although small, Bhutan was not subdued. The kingdom fought hard, and wars with Britain ended in treaties, not total occupation. In particular, the 1910 Punica Treaty with Britain, although allowing Britain to guide Bhutan's foreign policy, still guaranteed the country's internal autonomy. After India gained independence from Britain in 1947, Bhutan quickly built a special relationship with this large neighbor. The India-Bhutan Friendship Treaty of 1949 is a testament to friendship and mutual respect. India is committed to supporting Bhutan in defense and foreign policy, and not to interfere in internal affairs. This helps Bhutan further consolidate its independence. In 1971, Bhutan stepped onto the international stage when it officially joined the United Nations. This is an important milestone, affirming national sovereignty and position globally. While many other countries are immersing themselves in the whirlwind of modernization, Bhutan chooses a separate path, maintaining a closed-door policy to protect traditional culture and lifestyle. Why was it never invaded? Bhutan is a small country located between two major powers, China and India. Despite its strategic geographical location, Bhutan has never been invaded or occupied by any country, including China and India. Here are some key reasons why Bhutan has maintained its independence and avoided invasion from these two neighboring powers. Difficult terrain. Bhutan is located in the eastern Himalayas, with rugged and difficult to access mountainous terrain. This created a natural barrier that protected the country from invasion. The borders with China and India are mainly located on high mountain peaks and deep valleys, making it difficult to deploy troops and maintain military operations. Bhutan implements a neutral foreign policy, avoiding participation in international and regional conflicts. This helps the country avoid interference from major powers. How are relations with India and China? If India is considered a big brother, then Bhutan is a little brother that is sheltered and protected. Since the first days of independence, India has welcomed Bhutan with open arms, like an older brother ready to help his younger brother in his first steps in life. This friendship was formalized through a 1949 treaty, pledging that India would not interfere in Bhutan's internal affairs. In return, Bhutan would consult with India on foreign affairs. This is like a promise of protection from the older brother, willing to support but respecting the younger brother's freedom and decisions. India has invested heavily in Bhutan, helping to build infrastructure and develop the economy. Roads, schools and hospitals built with India's help are like gifts from an older brother, helping his younger brother grow up and become independent. The two countries regularly hold joint exercises and India provides military training to Bhutan. If India is a close big brother, then China is like a strong neighbor that Bhutan needs to deal with tactfully. This relationship requires tact and balance. Bhutan and China have several unresolved border disputes. Bhutan and China have conducted several rounds of border negotiations, but the relationship is not as close as with India. This is like the relationship between two neighbors, always keeping a polite distance and being cautious in communication. Although China is an economic powerhouse, Bhutan does not have very close trade relations with China, mainly due to concerns about its neighbors' influence. This is like keeping a safe distance to ensure that one's independence and autonomy are not violated. India is like an older brother who always stands by and supports Bhutan wholeheartedly, while China is a powerful neighbor that needs to behave cautiously and tactfully.